Okay, I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Education of the Goshen Central School District for today, Monday, June 7th, 2021. Due to abundance of caution and with regard to the spread of COVID-19 and in accordance with Governor Cuomo's March 12th Executive Order 202.1, today's meeting is being held in the District Administration Building and streamed through Zoom and YouTube. Next on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of meditation.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next on the agenda is acknowledgement of the Treasurer's Report by the Board of Education for March 2021. We had no submitted privilege of floor questions. We did receive some emails via the Board of Ed comments, ranging mostly about masks. And a little bit about today's dismissal and air conditioning in schools, which we plan to address our air handlers in our next project, and hopefully we'll add cooling potential to those air handlers. As far as masks are concerned, obviously there's been some hotbed questions, issues, comments, views on this, not only through the schools, but pretty much everywhere. Friday night, we did put out a press release after the state put out a press release saying that they were going to lift the mask mandate on Monday, pending CDC okay, which is basically what we said as well. We wanted to get that out there because we knew it was going to be a conversation over the weekend, and we were going to follow the guidance from the state. By Sunday afternoon, the guidance had changed, much to a majority of dismay and a small portion of happiness, I think. We do understand that there is both sides of this story. Some people are very looking forward to not sending their kids to school with masks. Others are still very reluctant and are not ready to do that. And we do understand both those views. We as a team here between the administration and the board, as always, aim to provide choices. And I think that will be our goal to the end of the school year. That's important for us because we want you to choose what's best for you and your child. Today, Governor Cuomo finally came out and weighed in on the situation himself and said that the school district can decide if we want to allow outdoor masks or not. I think we're all in favor of not on the outdoor mask. So starting tomorrow, we're not going to require masks outdoors. He also said today that guidance indoors from the CDC has not changed and that the mask mandate is still in place. So we have no choice there. He also went on to say that Commissioner Zucker's letter Friday was not confusing, and I'm going to disagree with that. Hopefully that clears up our view and what's going on. Any further comments from the board? Did I think I addressed it? Okay. On a different note, I was able to attend a few events last week for the first time in a long time, and that was kind of nice. I started off my re-entry into going to events in school property by stopping by the grade 8 kickball tournament on Friday. I thought that would be a good way to start. What better way to get back into seeing and doing things and watching events through our district and watching our kids have fun on a beautiful day. Principal Carmen did a great job and her team. So I want to say kudos to you. And the kids were having a lot of fun, which was great to see. I was also able to Saturday night attend the TEDx event at the high school. Amazing job. You know, we had some of our community members speak. We had some of our students speak. And I commend them all for their courage. That's not an easy thing to do. And I think that they should be all congratulated. And one last note, I know we had some very exciting news on the academic side through our Odyssey of the Mind teams. World champions, congratulations, an amazing achievement. We also had some other high finishes as well. And congratulations to all. We're very proud of you. I think Superintendent Connor will hit on that a little bit more in his report. You can talk about that. Okay. That concludes my report. Next on the agenda is the legislative update. Martha Bogart.
I really don't have anything new to add.
Thank you, Martha. Next on the report, next on the agenda, I should say, is the superintendent's report. Mr. Connor.
Okay, let me unmute myself. Down here. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you, President Pucci. A couple of quick updates. I know we put out a news release last week. We talked about the new speed bumps, and that comes at a pretty good time because we've had all kinds of programs, two on Wednesday of last week up at the high school that were county-wide, well received. I'm sure you all heard, but we got dozens and dozens of compliments from school districts that came here, superintendents, principals, athletic directors, a lot of good compliments. Things cooperating with us pretty well. This Wednesday, we hope to have two events up there. One is the Scholar, valedictorian, salutatorians, class 1 and 2 from each school will be here. We're having, BOCES is having a program here again to recognize those students in all the districts. And also, I think Matt O'Brien's going to have the kids come in, and the ones that have gotten scholarships and are going on to college to participate in athletics. We want to recognize those kids as well. The Olympics are the visual arts competition. Chrissy Buhookie and her group, once again, outstanding job. She said her middle school and high school kids did extremely well in medaling in every art category in which they entered. And congratulations to Ms. Buhookie and all her students for a wonderful job. Always a great effort on her end. Odyssey of the Mind World Finals. First of all, Team Loftus Goshen Middle School, problem 4, takes 3rd place. Great job once again. That's a World Finals. And Team Seligman, Goshen Middle School, problem 3, are world champs. And my assistant superintendent, Jason Carter, pointed out the fact today that with that, closing that part of the circle, in the last 12 years, each building has won a world championship. So congratulations to these two for the outstanding job. There's some real talented people, obviously working with those kids, and the kids always do a great job. Grade 8 kickball tournament. I would agree with President Pucci, huge success, barbecue. The senior barbecue, I was up at that. I think I was most impressed with the fact that the kids, the number of kids that showed up, it was an outstanding representation of the senior class. And they looked like they had a ball. There's some kind of a new game the kids are playing now. and they really don't want to play against Mr. Johnson. It's called
Oh,
spike
spike
ball.
ball.
And I saw this guy doing like straddling, hurdling the like mini trampoline and then slamming it down. I mean, he looked like he was champion out there that day, but
ESPN had the college championship spike ball.
well,
Unbelievable.
this guy must be practicing on the side because he was taking all newcomer, anyone who wanted to play him, he was taking them on. So high school prom, that was a real interesting event. I thought the kids had a great time. It almost seemed like we were back 2 years ago. The kids came all dressed up. It was incredible how nice everyone looked. The feel was really good. No problems that I saw in the hour that I was there. Yeah, just a really nice event. It almost had to feel like it was like it was 2 years ago. It was tough during the week, but obviously these places with things opening up and the side of the audience and crowd being able to attend, Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays, as they were explaining to me over at West Hills, they're doing one wedding on a Friday night, two on a Saturday, and another one on a Sunday. So these places are booked. They are tough to get into right now, but I'm glad for the seniors, happy for them that they were able to pull that off. It's always a special event. And when you think about 50 years later, trust me. So that completes my report. The masks, was I supposed to touch on anything else?
Only if you want to, if you think you need to want to add anything. to what
I
said,
thought President Pucci did a really good job, spelled it out, said it very well regarding the masks. We were all very disappointed at 2:00 on Sunday to receive that update that masks are back on. We're extremely happy, especially with this weather and what it is with the heat. At least the kids can go outside tomorrow and not have to worry about the mask. So that's a really good thing. And hopefully we're just a day or two away from mask removal altogether. So let's keep our fingers crossed. And with that concludes my report.
I know that it came late. Did anybody touch base on the TEDx talks?
Yes, President Pucci did.
I did.
Yeah,
Do you
'cause
wanna-
those were amazing.
And those things, I was not there, but I was getting all kinds of updates and they said it was a phenomenal event. Key Bank in town, who also did the dedication, or not a dedication, but a donation for the event. When I walked in there today, the bank manager came over to me and said, "Thank you so much for, convincing me to make this donation. This was an incredible event." She said, "It's one of the best things I've ever seen," and been, sitting as in the audience. So, yeah, it was just an outstanding weekend, and keep our fingers crossed. I know the principals are doing everything they can to do their end of the year closeouts with their moving up programs. They're doing everything they can to really try and make this as much about the kids and make it feel as close to being normal as possible. So I think that does it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Connor.
You're welcome, sir.
Did you want to add anything on TEDx? Are you good?
No, that was good. Thanks.
Jake, can I just jump in 1 second, please?
Sure.
I know I touched lightly on it, but I do want to talk about, did attend a program on the interscholastic, Orange County Interscholastic Athletic Association. That was the top male and female. And I know you folks can't see it out there, but our BOCES does a phenomenal job putting this information together. It's really, really done extremely well. And Mike Cromer, he definitely has a future. And with doing some kind of an announcing or whatever, he was outstanding in his presentation of each student from each school and each athlete. Our second program was a senior scholar humanities honorees. And although not as many schools involved in this program, but Goshen was well represented. We had Ben Pahookie and Madeline Bunzy. And I'll tell you that when Madeline came out, I was just like, wow, I remember her in 7th grade when she was like one of the stars of one of our plays here in the high school. But Ben Pahookie is an outstanding young man too. And going to Cornell. And Madeline, let's see. I'm not sure if it says where she's going to, but she's an outstanding young lady too, and it's just great to see both our kids do so well, so. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Next on the agenda is the Assistant Superintendent for Business Report. Louise Lynch.
Thank you. Good evening. I have a couple of items to report on. The first is before you tonight, you have the corrective action plan, which is in response to the food service internal audit that was done by Cooper Arias. I want to thank Sue Peters and her staff and Al Molnick and his staff. Fortunately, they identified one way that we can improve our procedures, and I think it will provide an additional level of accuracy. We'll see that later on. The other item you have before you tonight is a budgetary transfer, and this is really just a recoding entry. If we knew what we knew today when we developed last year's budget, we would have been able to do it then. But so it's not any new money or anything, just a little bit of moving it around for the CARE and GEARS grants for the year. And then I have a couple more items that I'll do at the end, but I want to update you on the hiring process for the district treasurer that we will be replacing. So I'll give you a little history. We had a really rich pool of applicants. We had 26 candidates who applied. Business office staff and myself conducted initial interviews in May. And because this position reports to the board, the audit committee fortunately was able to participate along with myself, and we did secondary interviews. And we are appointing later on in the agenda, Nicole De Sousa, who is on the phone virtually with us tonight. And I want to welcome her. And we'll also be appointing a deputy treasurer to allow for dual wire approval, which is something that all the banks require nowadays, and segregation of duties. So I don't know if we want to.
I think I go forward to that. I think I can do 21 and 22 now. And that way we can get Nicole to come in if she wants after that. And then she can go if she wants. She doesn't stick around again. Is that okay with everybody? Is that okay with you, Louise? You good?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So let's go to new business 12.21. Which would be an appointment of the district treasurer. Need a motion? Jeremy and Mike? Be it resolved upon the recommendation. I should probably unmute. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education appoints Nicole De Sousa, district treasurer, at a gross salary of $95,000, prorated effective June 22nd, 2021 through June 30th, 2021, and for the 2021-22 school year. Ms. De Sousa is replacing Ann Desiglioli.
Yeah.
You didn't help me on that before. All in favor? Opposed? Congratulations, Nicole.
Can I speak? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you now.
Okay, I just want to thank you for this amazing opportunity. I'm very excited for my journey with Goshen. I'm eager to bring my experience and knowledge, and I look forward to getting to know the team and working with you all. So thank you again.
Great, congratulations.
Thank you.
You don't have to stick around now if you don't want to. I think we'll do 12.22. The appointment of the deputy treasurer. Any motion? Tom and Judy? Be resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education appoints Michelle Van Zelter, deputy district treasurer, at a stipend of $10,000 prorated effective June 8, 2021 through June 30th, 2021. And for the 2021-22 school year, Ms. Van Zelter is replacing Louise Lynch. All in favor? Opposed? Congratulations, Michelle. I looked over at Maureen and she gave me I thought, nod, I said it right. Thank you.
Practice it.
I didn't. Yep.
I'll go back to Louise.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention that we are evaluating end of year spending. And you'll see before you tonight a number of bids. We have an opportunity to do some parking lot maintenance. And you'll see a motion for the capital reserve, and this will be fully funding that. So we are analyzing end of year spending as we do this time of year. We have a lot of encumbrances that we're looking at, but we are trying to take this opportunity to do things that we can to make our facilities safer and to allow us a little bit of flexibility. And lastly, I just wanted to mention, and I just noticed that you have this on your report, but I did get 3 different emails today from interested parties regarding the universal pre-K. I don't know if that means that they'll be bidding, but we'll keep you updated on that. And I don't know much more than that. They come kind of anonymously. That's it. Thank you. I don't know if there's any questions.
Any questions? Just one follow-up question. I don't know who could answer it. Is Jim Freeze on this call or no?
He's on vacation.
All right,
I believe
have
so.
we gotten anything back from, or any updates from land on the services for the air filtration handlers or anything like
I
that?
believe that they are coming in district June 16th, 17th.
I believe they've already been
Already
in
been?
district,
Okay.
but they're not done yet. So we're kind of in the
Very
middle.
soon, Very close.
We'll get an update next week.
Absolutely. We'll get some information to the board. As soon as we get it, we'll share it with all of you.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is the Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum, Instruction, Personnel, and Technology, Mr. Carter.
Thank you, Mr. Pucci. Good evening, everyone. So just speaking a little more about our universal pre-K program, as Louise Lynch had mentioned, we currently have our legal notice in the newspapers, and we do have a few of our local agencies contacting us to, get the actual application process. It is due on the 16th, at which point in the early afternoon, we will open the bids. And then at that point, enter the competitive process with those agencies. As far as the registration piece, we are working with Michelle Cerna. We have a packet ready. So what we will do is put some notification out on the web so that families can come in if they choose to register for pre-kindergarten, pick up the packet, fill it out, and then return it as soon as possible. We have not come up with a deadline yet, but we will, and they will be numbered as they come in because we will be entering a lottery process. We have chosen to outsource our UPK program to begin, and in the future, if possible, we will look to expand and possibly offer some in-house options. But at the moment, we've chosen to outsource everything. I would imagine as we get into that last week of June, we'll have a better idea of the agencies and what they're willing to offer, what their services look like. So again, that competitive process involves some site visits. Of course, we're interested in the curriculum that's provided, and a few other major items there. We've also worked closely with Jason Breslin. So once again, we've had a few email exchanges just to receive some more guidance through the process. So we're pretty confident that everything is looking pretty good for us right now, and we're excited to begin that program. So UPK hopefully returning to Goshen with some decent numbers, with possibilities for expansion in the future. Next up, tomorrow at the middle school and the intermediate school, we will administer the grade 4 and grade 8 science assessment. It is just the written portion. So we'll get that in. The window is June 7th through the 11th. And I'm quite hopeful as our administrative team is that we'll get it in and get it over with, and off we go with the assessments. Gladiator Gains is a summer enrichment program that our administrative team, food services, buildings and grounds, transportation, everyone collectively has worked very hard to put together a very good, enrichment program to focus on making those academic gains as we're coming out of a major pandemic, a major academic issue. So we look forward to that. We're looking at Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 9 to noon, beginning on July 13th, ending on August 12th. This summer enrichment program really is invitation-based, and invitations will be sent out to families based on overall academic achievements, classroom performance. There is a teacher recommendation component to it. And also, of course, we utilize our benchmark assessments and some of our universal screening tools such as the NWEA and the STAR assessments at the high school level. So we look forward to seeing what those numbers will look like. I know some of the invitations went out today, others are going out tomorrow. So we should have a better idea of what that will look like by the end of the week. And again, it's a collaborative effort, so transportation will be provided. Also, food services is willing to provide breakfast upon arrival and a grab and go lunch out the door. And our focus is primarily on ELA and math, and there will be an SEL component as well. So we'll also throw in a quality social emotional learning activity, mini lesson. And again, this is invitation based, but there's a large component of teacher recommendation as well. Once again, I just want to say thank you to our administrative team, Jim Freeze, Karen at Transportation, Karen Wells, also Al with Food Services. A lot of hard work has gone into this, and we're really excited to get it started. And then finally, I just also want to say congratulations to all of those that worked very hard to do well and place extremely high, world champions with Odyssey of the Mind. Also, a third place finish is outstanding. But beyond that, we also have many other competitors and coaches that have worked really hard and once again have given Goshen a great name in the Odyssey, the Odyssey world. It's something to be really proud of. So congratulations to all. Thank you for everything that you've done. And that's it for my report.
Thank you, Mr. Carter.
Thank you.
No questions? Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. I need a motion. Martha and Jeremy. Be resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education approves the consent agenda as presented. All in favor? Opposed? No old business. Al, do you mind if I go through the resolutions real quick and then finish up with you tonight? Okay. I'm gonna put Al at the back here. We're going to go to 12.2, motion to approve the minutes. Allison and Mike. Be resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education approves the minutes for May 19th, 2021, regular board meeting. All in favor? Opposed? 12.3, I need a motion to approve the corrective action plan from the independent internal audit report prepared by Cooper Arias. Jeremy and Mike. Be resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education hereby approves the corrective action plan for the internal audit performed by Cooper Arias LLP related to internal controls over distribution and reporting meals for reimbursement from state and federal governments for the year ending June 30th, 2021. All in favor? Opposed? 12.4, we need to schedule the reorg for the 21-22 year. Motion. Allison, Tom. Be resolved, the Board of Education schedules the annual organizational meeting for July 12th, 2021. All in favor? Opposed? 12.5. Approve agreement for special education services, Greenberg, North Castle. Any motion? Greenville, North Castle, Union Free School District. Thank you. Any motion? Alice, I'm not gonna Tom and say Alice. Tom and Mike. Be resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education enters into an agreement with Greenberg, North Castle, Union Free School District to provide special educational services for students for the school year July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022. Be it further resolved, the Board of Education authorizes the superintendent to execute the agreement. All in favor? Opposed? 12.6. Motion to approve agreement for special education services, agribusiness, child development, Florida, ABCD. Judy? Jeremy. Be resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education approves entering into agreement with Agribusiness Child Development Florida ABCD to provide services for special education students effective May 25th, 2021 through May 25th, 2023. Be it further resolved, the Board of Education authorizes the superintendent to execute the agreement. All in favor? Opposed? 12.7. Approve agreement for physical therapy services, Therapeutic Horizons. Need a motion? Mike and Allison? Be resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education approves entering into an agreement for services with Therapeutic Horizons to provide physical therapy services to special education students during the 2021-22 school year at a rate of $120 per hour and $120 per evaluation per hour. Be it further resolved, the Board of Education authorizes the superintendent to execute the agreement. All in favor? Opposed? 12.8, I need to approve an RFP for bilingual psychoeducational evaluator. Jeremy? And Mike. I was just reading. Be resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education approves awarding the RFP for bilingual psychoeducational evaluator services to Ms. Ferranda Santos Shaw as follows. Hourly consultation rate, 2021-22, $500 per hour. School year 22-23, $500 per hour. School year 23-24, $500 per hour. Evaluation rate, 21-22, $1,500 evaluation. 22-23, $1,500 evaluation. 23-24, $1,500 evaluation. Be it further resolved, the Board of Education authorizes the superintendent of schools to execute the contract. All in favor? Opposed? Am I?
Assistant service.
No, I think I was mute. I was muted. Let me start that over again. Be resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education approves awarding RFP for certified occupational therapy assistant services to Anne Marie Siganik as follows. School year 21-22, $42.50 per hour, up to $35 hours a week. School year 22-23, $43 per hour, up to 35 hours per week. And school year 23-24, $43 per hour, up to 35 hours per week. Be it further resolved, the Board of Education authorizes the superintendent of schools to execute the agreement. All in favor? Opposed? .11, approve agreement for services, speech language services, special education services. Need a motion? Jeremy. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, Board of Education enters into agreement with Hudson Valley Speech to provide speech language services for special education students effective for the 2020-21 school year in the amount of $70 per 30-minute treatment session, up to 6 hours per week. Be it further resolved, the Board of Education authorizes the superintendent to execute the agreement. All in favor? Opposed? 12.12. Approve agreement for special education services, Spanish translation. Need a motion? Tom? And Nelson. Be resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education enters into agreement with William Valentino to provide Spanish translation services effective July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021, in the amount of $15 per hour. Be it further resolved, the Board of Education authorizes the superintendent to execute the agreement. Is that wrong?
Yeah.
School year's wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what about the last one?
Yeah, same thing.
Okay.
Circle that one, I say it now.
Do you want me to reread that?
No, just acknowledge that first.
So we're acknowledging 12.11 should be 21-22, and this should be 2021-22. All in favor? Opposed? 12.13, accept an award bid for uniforms, mats, and mop service and supply. Judy? Mike? Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education awards bid number RFB BG 0005-21 and contract for uniforms, mats, and mops, service and supply rental, effective August 1st, 2021 through July 31st, 2022. To Alter Uniform Service, Inc., 541 Broadway, Kingston, New York, 12401, as per bid specification and prices submitted in their bid of June 1st, 2021. All in favor? Opposed? 12.14, accept and award bid for asphalt repair and resurfacing. Need a motion? Jeremy? Tom? Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education awards bid number RFB-BG 0006-21 for asphalt repair and resurface effective July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022 to award paving services, P.O. Box 427, Goshen, New York, 10924, as per bid specifications and prices submitted in their bid of June 1st, 2021. All in favor? Opposed? 12.15, motion to accept and award bid for parking lot seal coating and maintenance. Need a motion? Allison? Tom? Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education awards bid number RFB BG 0007. I think it's too many zeros. BG 0007, I'm right, -21 for parking lot seal coating and maintenance. I thought I had one extra zero. Effective July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022 to Tri-State Asphalt Inc., 62 Fifth Avenue, Hawthorne, New Jersey, 07506. As per bid specifications and prices submitted in their bid of June 1st, 2021. All in favor? Opposed? 12.16. Accept an award bid for property maintenance, equipment, and labor. Motion? Allison and Mike. Be resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education awards bid number RFB BG 0008-21 for property maintenance, equipment, and labor, effective July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022 to John Bianski Trucking, 185 Glenmere Road, Chester, New York, 10918, as per bid specifications and prices submitted in their bid of June 1st, 2021. All in favor? 12.17. Motion to accept an award bid for property maintenance painter flooring installer. Jeremy, Mike? Be resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education awards bid number RFB BG 0009-21 for property maintenance painter effective July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022 to Herman's Painting, doing business as Carl Herman, 596 County Route 56, Wardsboro, New York, 17790, as per bid specifications and prices submitted in their bid of June 1st, 2021. Be it further resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education awards bid number RFB BG 009-21 for property maintenance flooring installer effective July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022 to Carpet Pro, doing business as Dave Dio, 49 Wyant's Lane, Newburgh, New York, 12550, as per bid specifications and prices submitted in their bid of June 1st, 2021. All in favor? Opposed? This is where I get mad at Maureen right about this point. 12.18. Louise touched on this in her report. Approved budgetary transfer. Need a motion? Jeremy? Yes. Be resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education approves the following budgetary transfer. Record keeping requirement to receive CARES funds dated 5/27/21. The amount of $77,359. All in favor? Opposed? 12.19, I need a motion to approve the revised student calendar for this year. I think this is added in Juneteenth holiday, I believe.
Yes.
12.19, need a motion. Mike? Allison? Be resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education approves the revised 2020-21 student calendar as presented. All in favor? Opposed? 12.20, also Louise hit this in her report, approve a up to increase in the capital reserve. Need a motion? Martha and Judy? Oh, you got a question? Yeah.
Make a quick comment about it.
Sure.
I'm delighted that we're able to do that. And as we all can recall, that came in handy in the last capital project.
Absolutely. I agree, Martha.
Can we get a number, what's in there right now?
Or no?
This would be a close.
Right now, it's 4 million. If we're able to add the 2 million, I'm assuming that there will be those funds available. No, once the audit's been done, we'd be at 6 million. You're welcome.
Just to note, the resolution will read up to, doesn't mean we're gonna put it all in. That's one, and to note, I think this would cap out that reserve, so we would probably need to get a resolution next year to create a new one.
How long can we keep this reserve?
So 1 million of this was from the previous reserve. This 5 million was from 10 years, and I believe we did it in 19. Pretty sure we're gonna spend it before then.
Yeah, it's usually like 10-year,
So 10 years.
it's usually like a 10-year window to use it, give or take, you know.
That might be a few.
Did I get a motion? I think I did, Judy and Martha. Be resolved. You had your hand up, so I called you.
I just had
It was a dual hand up, one for a question, one for a motion. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby appropriates a sum of up to $2,048,550, depending on the availability of funds, to the capital reserve from the 2020-21 unappropriated fund balance in the general fund, and authorizes the transfer of such monies from the general fund to the capital reserve. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, Al. Thank you for waiting. Appreciate that. Now we're gonna get the cafeteria fund budget now.
Go through that, yeah. Good job.
Yeah.
No problem.
So, is it working? I can't tell. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Pleasure to be here. Thank you, President Pucci. Just like everybody, we've kind of struggled this year. Why isn't it moving? Okay. Sorry. My screen, I get the. All right, sorry. So, good evening, everybody. Sorry for the delay. Just like everyone, the pandemic has hit food services hard. We've struggled to generate revenue. When the children aren't here, there's nobody to sell meals to. It's kind of hard to do. We have, had good news. The government has graciously allowed us to serve everybody free. I mean, that's not collecting money and applications and chasing people and not having to worry about debt. It's kind of a nice thing. We've talked before about how much children owe us, and it's nice to not have to worry about that. And God, I'd love to see the kids in the line next year. Oh, wouldn't we all? I know it's a shared feeling from everybody, but you got to say it. We just love to see them. When they first came back, it was wonderful, and we're still liking it. Oops. Oh, I went too fast. We have learned to do our job in many new ways. We have served thousands and thousands of meals from parking lots. Something I never thought I'd say working for a school district. It's been interesting. We have learned to serve in lobbies, in halls, in gyms, in everywhere but the cafeteria. But we got the food to them. If the kids wanted to eat, we found a way to get them food. That was the main goal. We found new packaging and new ways to serve people things that, we knew they liked, so why not get it to them at home? We froze this meal and sent it home to them, and got good reviews. So with new packaging, new places to serve, we learned to be adaptable and be patient. It's hard. Food service is never the first thing in a school day, but when it's not there, kids notice. This summer, we're going to be serving meals, both through distribution to the community and every building. So we're waiting for numbers and more information, like Mr. Carter talked about. We've invited a lot of people, but I can't wait to see how many we get to do. And summer is such a great time. There's fresh vegetables, fresh fruits, things I can't serve in January. It's going to be fun to actually serve. Boy, I wish I knew the future. But I'm working with my staff. It's much easier to adapt a plan than to walk in and not have a plan or have the wrong plan. But so we have ideas of how we'd serve students now with the current limitations right through the line, and we'll work from there. We'll keep finding ways to serve them safe. We have worked to manage our budget. I've spent less than a quarter of my budget for food, mostly due to the children not being here, but if there's no need to spend it, I don't just spend it. It's not what I do. I'll drive the new treasurer crazy, but she's gonna learn. And we have to be flexible. It's gonna be a time where we don't know from month to month what's going on, and we'll change. If we need to change, we'll change. Thank you. Any questions?
So is there carryover from this year's budget to next? Does it work like that, or?
Negative? It's possible. Yes, I've actually started jobs where I was hundreds of thousands of dollars in the hole. But that's a decision for this body to make. before the pandemic, we had a fund balance. And the first 6 months of that pandemic ate it up. And so I think Louise told me I had $1 left because she had to balance it out and it couldn't be zero. So we started this year with $1, and right now we're in the hole over 300,000. But when we had good years, yes, we had a fund balance and it went up and down a little bit here and there. We managed to keep it very close to even, which is what we're supposed to do.
Now, how does what's the mechanics?
If I can just
Oh.
add to that before I answer that, I'll let you take that one. But so the food service fund can't be in the negative. When the auditors come in at the end of the year, it's a finding if it's in the negative. So you might not have been here, Al, but there was a time where we did a big transfer. And right now we're trying to, we're going to try and leave $1 in there again. So we don't have an audit finding, but it's just enough for the general fund can bail it out. And I'll let Al answer the specifics about what happens
Okay.
is we bill the federal and state government. I'll let you take over.
So when a child comes through the line or we serve them in the classroom, we count those meals. I'll take Scotchtown. We physically drop off a class roster to each classroom. Cook manager picks it up. She makes that many meals. We deliver that many meals. She puts it into the computer. At the end of the month, they add up all those meals for Scotchtown and all the schools and put that into the federal government, a statewide database where we put it in and they send us the money pretty quickly, actually. Once we put it in and submit it, I would say less than 2 weeks, we get paid.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Used to be months and months. Yeah, used to be, when I started here 20 years ago in schools, it was months and months. We waited for money. They've gotten better.
So the biggest problem we had this year is the lack of traffic.
Yes.
Right?
Mhm.
Is that accurate to say? Or?
Yeah, like October is generally a 19 or to 21 day month where we serve 19 or 21 days. It's usually one of those months where we generate a lot of revenue. We had 8 days this year. No fault of anybody, but just the way it worked out. All the quarantines and everything we were doing, there's nothing I can do.
And the deficit has to be made out of the general fund?
Yes. The other thing, if I can just piggyback to what Al's saying, is when we have 3,000 kids in the district, there's an economies of scale. There's one
Yes.
cook in each building and there's, we still need that cook regardless of if we sell to 100 kids or 1,000 kids. So
Mhm.
that's one of the challenges that he's faced. And we've monitored that very closely. Some of those hourly people we may not have needed, but the full-time staff and the benefits are still the same benefits. So, yeah.
So the only question I have is for my own understanding or naive lack of understanding.
It's okay.
Would be, I know we're not allowed to, it's a separate budget, right?
Yes.
So I thought the rules were a separate budget, but we can use this budget to cover that budget?
Yes,
I was thinking the same thing.
With-
We can offset the.
With
So,
acknowledgement.
but we can't supplement it and buy things, do things in there.
his money his food service money, if he has a surplus, can't come to us.
Come back, right.
But the general fund has to bail out the food service fund if there's a deficit. So he can accumulate money, and it's true. I know when I first got here, he had a pretty healthy fund balance. But we've depleted that, little by little. And now, of course, the pandemic's really devastated it. So it's remaining on the general funds back.
So if he needed, for example, I think we talked about this in the past, a refrigerator or display unit, theoretically, we can't provide that money. He's got a budget himself, right?
No, if he needed that, let's say, it was working and it wasn't really broken, I would probably say, oh, we're not going to do it this year. Or let's hold on as long as we can. Can we get that fixed? But if he really needed it, he has the budget to support it, so he could purchase it because he has the expenditure budget to provide for that. But he wouldn't have the revenue to actually fund it, and that's where the general fund would have to come in.
That would come in at the end of the year if there was a negative.
So we couldn't, if he needed a fridge or anything, when we couldn't offset that and let him those funds for food?
Well, right now, he has, we talk about a balanced budget. And I'm sure you all have this green piece of paper for next year's budget. His budget is balanced, but because I just looked at this a little while ago. So this year, his budget was $1.4 million. I think you spent about 600,000 of that. But his revenue might be 200,000 or 300,000 of that. So it wouldn't really matter if the general fund paid for it as a capital expenditure through Jim Freeze's budget, or if we ran it through the food service. Either way, the general fund would be paying for it.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, that was for my clarity.
It was a good question, actually.
Thank you.
I know you say there's a lot you cannot do, but it seems to us that you're doing a lot. So you're doing a great job. It's not easy.
Thank you.
You're doing a
Well, it
great
seems
job.
like the system's broken, to be honest with you.
Yeah, thank
It
you.
really does.
Yeah.
You just want to get food and, to the kids. And they're hamstrung by policy and politics.
But on behalf of the board, I think we do thank you for your efforts. and your staff.
We do.
You're very welcome.
I think Superintendent has said to us many times of not only your work ethic, but also your attitude.
Oh.
It's been very, very good.
Oh, I got him fooled.
And your flexibility and calmness is amazing.
Especially during the community, especially in the beginning of this pandemic, I think was tremendous. And we thank you.
I'm an old grunt. I've seen a lot worse. Like these masks. I mean, I used to have to wear a nuclear, chemical, biological suit with rubber gloves and rubber mask and rubber boots over leather boots and a full battle uniform carrying an M60. I mean, to me, the mask is like, yeah, okay.
Right.
You sweat it off a quarter of your body weight.
I was gonna say we keep him on.
Yeah.
They said food is that bad.
No.
Any questions for Al? Or-
Good job.
Thank you, Al.
Thank
Thank
you.
You're very welcome.
Next on the agenda is board member issues. The only thing I have is a quick reminder to everybody that the calendar of events is picking up. So I think we have a calendar out there. If anybody needs one, I can take a picture of this and send it out to you, but whatever you can make, try to make.
Yeah, if you can send that.
Okay, yeah. Judy?
Yeah, I had a couple questions about things. Class day. They're having class day as usual.
Outside, I think, is what I heard.
Are we invited or no?
It's at the stadium. It's two
per
guests per family,
I know.
and it's from 10 to 11. Yeah, I don't see why
The board, you
Board
want to
member.
have Jen Martin send out an invitation to the board?
And what about, just explain to me the car parade at 8:00 in the morning? The seniors are doing, anybody know where that's running?
We could check.
Yeah, just curious, I mean, it was on the list somewhere.
Oh, is Jen on there?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's on the bottom.
I'm on. Sorry, I was driving.
Are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Okay. So yes, there have been invitations that will be sent out. We're waiting for tickets to return from the printer. Graduation will be on the 24th at 7, 2 guests per student. And we've asked for responses. If anyone wanted to voluntarily let us know so that we can monitor those who've been vaccinated to make sure we're complying with all of the regulations and ensure that we have one graduation for all of our students.
Okay, and then class day, this.
Class day is this Friday. It begins at 10 a.m. All parents are welcome to attend. The students will proceed out and we will have the awards being shown on the Jumbotron. Normally they're handed out individually, but again, because of our limitations, that allows everyone to be there. For class day, however, we have stadium seating socially distanced by 2s. So if you come, 2 parents together, they are on a spot together. We have available 224 spots. So that should accommodate everyone. We'll also have additional places to watch from the sides. We'll have ample parking available and we will have the golf cart available, 2 golf carts going to the farther parking lots in case anyone has difficulty walking from where they've parked up to the stadium. We'll also have handicapped accessible parking right next to the stadium.
Can you send out an invitation to the board for that?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Anything else on here? Scott?
Anything else, Jim?
The senior car parade, can you elaborate on those details?
Sure. Senior car parade is on June 17th. The students will arrive around 8:30. They're going to begin decorating for what'll be a car decoration contest. The parade will kick off then at 10 a.m. We're going to head out of GHS parking lot and make that left onto Scotchtown Ave. We'll go from there to CJ Hooker School, around the block, up to GIS, and then we're going to end where the students began at SAS, and then back to GHS. All the students, as you know, the building principals have determined, will be outside and cheering them on. Parents are welcome to, be along the route. And we will have a police presence at each intersection so that the line of student cars is not interrupted. We've asked that seniors not be the drivers so that they can thoroughly enjoy the parade and remain safe. So then we'll return back to the school. And then as there is no classes that day, we're administering the English Regents. They will go home from there.
Basically, the route sounds like they're going to every school.
They're going to every school.
Are the seniors going to the elementary school this year?
Are the seniors going to walk through elementary school like they have in the past in their caps and gowns?
They're not, because when we were planning originally, there were limitations with COVID. So we hoped that the parade would provide a close to traditional alternative where the younger students could get a chance to cheer on the seniors, and the seniors would have that same moment that they would have if they were able to walk through the school.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions or board member issues? Motion to close the meeting? Tom, Mike, all in favor?